Don't forget to check out Nerd to Know Bases here on Phoenix 92.5 FM with myself, Darragh O'Connor, and Bryn O'Rourke for everything nerd culture, video games, comics, and so much more. That's Nerd to Know Bases, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Saturday here on 92.5 Phoenix FM.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Sparta! All your days are belong to us. It's a trap 9000! Stop corrupting all of us!
Leave Benny alone!
Leroy Dragon! The balls are inert.
And now it begins.
Alright guys, it is time for Nerd to Know Bases here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, and of course listening to us where all good podcasts are found, our SoundCloud, and now if you search Nerd to Know Media on iTunes, so that's pretty sweet. All the shows will be up there as well, along with the rest of you, International Desk, and a few other bits and pieces. My name is Darragh O'Connor, and I'm joined on the line by my co-host, Mr. Bryn O'Rourke. Bryn, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad we finally got this sorted out. So at the moment, there's 2 shows up on the iTunes, and the rest of them are up on Mixcloud. So yeah, we're trying to expand pretty much everywhere you can possibly find us. That's where we're trying to be now, all over the interwebs. But it's been a mixed week, Bryn. We don't want to get too much into this because we talked about this on episode 1 of Nerd to Know. So if you guys want to check that out, go over and do check that out. That was a good show. It's got to do with Article 11 and Article 13 of the EU legislation, which pretty much dominates copyright, and by doing so, it's basically a censorship machine.
Yeah.
Now,
it's also like they're basically going to try and put like a tax on links.
Yeah, that's what article. So we should probably go in and talk about what this is. Yeah. So Article 11 is what's pretty much called a link tax. Yeah. So if you have an article, and you link to it, you have to pay a tax.
Well, it's like if you have any form of media. So like, if you just think about what that means in terms of media, what a link is. So that could be an image. It could be a piece of audio. It could be a video. It could be a document, a text document.
Yep.
So basically, you're talking about the likes of Google, YouTube, Wikipedia, Facebook, Tumblr, all pretty much going out of business.
Yeah.
If this goes through, and if they are forced to be compliant, which they're not going to be forced to be compliant because it's ridiculous. Like,
well, the thing about this is that alone is pretty bad. The next one, Article 13, is literally, guys, a filter which will parse through everything you upload, and if it violates copyright, which is ill-defined, will remove it. So that means any memes, so any kind of fun image that may or may not be technically
copyright.
Exactly. So just say it's a funny picture of The Simpsons you like, you will not be able to post that because it'll be removed. If it's a GIF that you like, if it's a piece of music, if you want to share something you're watching on YouTube, if you're trying to upload something to YouTube and there's music in the background, all gone. Yep. This is scary stuff, guys. Now, this was defeated after a lot of action earlier on in the summer, and on the 12th of September, this was voted on. Now, the good news is this isn't over. This isn't over.
No, we're more like we're halfway through.
Yeah.
Like it basically, I'm not really sure on what they changed last time that allowed them to get it put through again.
Well, no, what happened was Basically, there's a divide here. A lot of the tech lobbies don't want this. Big tech do not want this. Anyone who's technical does not want this. However, who do want
also anyone who's new media, but anyone who's old.
Well, it's weird. New media, a lot of those people seem to be on board with this. I don't understand it. They just obviously don't understand what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think, and that's one thing I'm disappointed in the Irish government, or the Irish media, should I say, and the Irish government mostly, but the Irish media, they don't seem to understand that if this goes the way media works nowadays, is finished.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be like, I mean, it is really going to like, I mean, print media might be going, well, this will help defend it. It's like print media has gone digital. It's not going to be good for them. Yeah. It's going to be really like, it's actually going to be pretty much the final nail in the coffin for print media.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, that's it. That's a pretty much finished, But, speaking of the government, right, our MEPs, and guys, do go over to ie.saveyourinternet.eu, and you can actually find who your MEPs are. You've probably never seen them before.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
And you may have to write them a very angry email.
Yeah, particularly the ones that didn't vote for it. Now, myself and Bryn and other listeners of this show and friends of ours did actually write the MEPs. I got some replies.
Yeah.
One was from Childers and one was from Flanagan, both of whom voted against it. So they actually are fighting for your rights. Boylan also wrote me an email saying that she was going to fight it and she was not present. Crowley was also not present. Every other one of them, every single one of these people who you've probably never met, you probably didn't even vote for, voted for censorship.
Yep.
And
they also voted pretty much heavily in favor of wealthy private interests being able to decide what you do as a hobby.
Exactly.
Which is kind of crazy. Like,
and here's the thing, though. Like, I understand that people have businesses, and people entitled to copyright, and that's totally fine. And there's a level of copyright reform needs to happen. Yeah, totally. But not at the rights of individual freedom. Because here's the thing: someone's copyright claim, and we've seen this being abused on YouTube. Someone's copyright claim is a way to silence people, and that's what can happen here. But also, it changes the very way we interact with media. And with the world, and not only media, but with the internet. Like, here's the thing: if this passes, there's a very high possibility that this show that we're doing right now might not be possible.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much a given that, like, I mean, it's at the moment, the likes of Google, in terms of like how much they help monetize independent content and creators who are either amateur, semi-professional, professional, all the way up to professional. How much they get monetized is starting to be reduced, just because they're thinking more about how monetizing them affects their image, and that's gonna get worse when stuff like this comes. Stuff like this could get worse. I mean, really, like, again, like, as much as like this, like, as much as we do worry about this legislation, there's a really high probability too that, like, the likes of your Googles and your Facebooks are probably going to resist any kind of punishment that is inflicted upon them.
Yeah, this has to be.
But this isn't gonna. This is because the reality is that this isn't going to really affect them, but it will affect the people who use their platforms.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, full disclosure, myself and Bryn know how to get around this, right? A lot of people who are tech savvy know how to get around this. The people who don't know how to get around this are the people who probably not even aware that the vote happened.
Yep.
And that's the thing, and that's why we're covering it. If you're listening to this, guys, it will affect you. You need to get active. You need to contact your MEPs and tell them, look, I don't like this. I know a lot of people have contacted me directly, and they're like, Dara, look, you know about this stuff. How bad is it? What do I do? I'm like, it's pretty bad. Here's what you need to do. And it's as simple as emailing them and letting them know. And that's why initially it was defeated. Now, the thing about this is it was really sneaky, because it was defeated and the vote came around. We found out about it like a day or two before it happened.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and, not to be too critical of the EU, but if you're so proud of something, why are you being so sneaky about it?
Yep.
It's like cowards hide in the dark. You know, it's like, do it in the daytime or don't do it at all. And that's how I feel about it. You know, fair play to Ming and fair play to Childers. They are actually fighting for you. They are actually fighting for internet freedom. People say, "Oh, you're biased." Yeah, I am. I believe the internet is a human right.
The whole the thing is as well is that, like, even if you go, you're biased, it's like, yes, I'm biased towards the principles that the internet was created on.
Exactly. Look, the internet.
How awful of me to think that when educators who were the people behind the internet wanted to do it for a free exchange of ideas, that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
A free exchange of ideas.
Yeah,
it's
look,
like,
yeah,
it's
look,
only the core principle of the platform being existing. But
yeah.
sure, let's just screw with that.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry that I'm standing up for your ability to say whatever you want on the internet and not be censored. Oh, what a horrible, bias.
That's just bias.
That's just bias. How dare you? No, but like that's the thing.
We're not being even-handed enough to the people who want to control everything because they don't have enough money.
We should give a platform to the censors. Excuse me, Mr. Censor, why do you want to control what I'm saying? And what I can upload to the internet? Ridiculous, guys. This is crazy. It's comical and I'm making a joke out of it because it is.
Yeah.
These laws are made by people who do not understand the internet. They're like, if you look at the people who voted, if you look how happy they were, they're completely out of touch with reality. This is your chance to get involved with politics.
There's even like people who were like, you can see the footage of when the result came out. People applauded this, and you're like, you're actually dumb.
Yeah,
like,
it's like you're applauding tyranny, folks. Like, come on. It's like, that's, you know what it is? It's like that bit in Star Wars, this is how democracy dies with thunderous applause. And remember, you know, this is how tyranny actually passes, where people applauded in. Remember, Hitler was voted in.
Yeah.
That's the truth. He was voted in.
You know, like Mussolini was voted in.
Mussolini was voted in, exactly. You
Franco
know,
was voted in. Like,
very true. Very true.
But it's like, I mean, this kind of stuff, man. It's like, it's just like, it's so, like, the thing is that, like, the difference between like the tyranny that like this would bring in is that at least, and this is a messed up thing to say, but like, at least with like a dictator, you knew who was tyrannizing you.
Yeah, like at least you saw the person. Like, well, it's that guy. These people, I've never even heard of half of them. You know, here's the thing. Like, I've heard of Ming because he was some sort of joke to a lot of people, but he's the only one actually going there trying to defend you. The rest of these people, the people who actually voted for it, you've probably never seen them at your door. You've never talked to them. And here's the thing. I don't understand, if this was such a big thing for the EU to pass, why wasn't there a referendum? We had a big referendum there in Ireland a couple of months ago. Why wasn't there an EU-wide referendum? You know, if they wanted so badly, let the people. But here's the thing. Yeah. We've seen what happens when we do have referenda here. We're asked to vote again until they get what they want. Yeah. Because that's how democracy works, folks. That's how freedom works. Yeah. Vote until you give us the right answer.
Anyway. Rant over.
So guys, listen, if you want to get involved, I would strongly urge you to be as biased as us and go over to ie.saveyourinternet.eu and let those people who you've probably never talked to know exactly that you want your internet to be left alone and that you believe in freedom and all the great things that the internet has provided, not just memes, but also the way to communicate and all that kind of stuff, because now's the time to do it. When it's gone, it'll be very hard to get back. That's the main thing about freedom. When it's gone, it's very hard to get back. But let's move on. So,
freedom isn't free.
You got to put in your book 05. You know? All right, guys. So hopefully this will be the last time.
With the exchange rate.
Yeah, about 250. 250. So guys, you know, hopefully this will be the last time we have to do our hard push for freedom. But you know, go over and all that kind of stuff, and it is totally worth your time. It only takes a couple of minutes.
So I really hope that me doing freedom isn't free. Who's compliant.
It's Article 13 non-compliant. All right, so moving on here. So moving on here to something else that was less of a disaster than the EU, the new EU laws, was today is the 10th year anniversary of the TNA Impact video game. Now, here's the thing. For anyone who doesn't know, myself and Bryn do a wrestling show every Tuesday on Phoenix FM. And so I had to bring this up. This is...
Yeah. Oh, just also, while we're on this, to explain what the hell TNA Impact is, it was basically like a company that considered itself to be a WWE. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. They released a video game. They did it with Midway Games, who went under about a year after this release, I think.
Yes.
Am I right in saying that? Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, the game was, I mean,
there were worse games.
I mean, it's very, in my opinion, it's kind of like a 6 of one, half a dozen of another kind of thing for me. Because at the time of it, by far and away the best looking wrestling game on the market.
But not only the best, right? Like I do want to talk about the goods and bad of it, because there was a lot of good things. Like the main thing for me, as far as the technical achievements of it, they actually full motion body captured Christopher Daniels for who's a wrestler, an actual wrestler, for all the moves, like every single wrestling move, and it was screen captured.
Yeah, they did full on motion cap for. I think they got most of the guys in there to do their own mocap.
Yeah. For
like significant moves, then there was guys who just did like mocap for like the basic punches and kicks and stuff, because pretty much everyone had the same punch and kick.
Yes. Dude, everyone had the same finisher. Everyone had a DDT finisher.
No,
everyone had a DDT. Yeah.
Rhino had his gore. Smo Joe had the Muscle Buster. AJ Styles had the Styles Clash.
Okay.
I really don't know what you're talking about here.
Okay. Just let me.
There was a demo that went around that was pretty awful, where pretty much everyone had the Canadian Destroyer.
Okay, well, no, I mean, I should clarify that the roster was quite deep, but the majority of people on that roster had the same finishers.
The roster had the same, had the same basic moves, more so than the signature stood out more than anything else.
That's true. The signatures were actually quite.
Yeah, I mean, so staying more on the positive side of things for the moment.
Yeah,
like they did full body scans of everyone as well, so everyone looked relatively photorealistic, especially for the period.
Yes.
The draw rate was like 60 frames per second, which, like, now that's kind of like seen as like industry standard. This was like this 2008.
2008, 2007, which at the time.
Yeah, it was 2008. Yeah. So like it's at the time that was not seen as being like that was seen as relatively unheard of. I mean, at the time, the WWE games had a draw rate of, like, I think they maxed out at 30, but they were usually around 20 frames.
Yes.
They weren't super crisp by comparison. So this came along and like everything looked gorgeous by comparison in terms of like how well it would animate. The problem was that like like to say that there was a moveset depth would be generous. There wasn't. To say that there was game types would be generous. There wasn't. And
they tried.
I mean, I think
they failed.
Yeah,
but they tried.
I mean, like the Ultimate X matches were fun to play.
Yes, they were. There was a very large learning curve. That was the only thing about it.
Yeah, but it was fun. I mean, like, to explain the Ultimate X matches to people who don't know. So basically, the way at that time TNA used like these 6-sided rings, and then they would have this match called the Ultimate X match, where there'd be like these poles on like opposite these poles that would like have like a cable run across and make this like kind of X, so that you'd have to get this like X or title match or title belt from the center of it. So you'd have to climb up to the top rope and then go and then like kind of shimmy along these cables to go and get the to try and win the match. And it's really, really good fun. But I mean, when you don't really have that much options in terms of like moves and stuff, it's kind of hard to feel like you're being creative or that you're having like a match or whatever. And it felt more like a really strong like first draft of a game. Rather than being like a finalized finished product.
Yes.
And like I think if there was a sequel, it would have been like massively improved, but we just never got to see that.
Now here's the thing. Did you know There was a sequel.
It was a mobile game, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, see, that doesn't count.
I want to be pedantic, damn it.
Yeah, what I mean by sequel is like, you know, on a games console, preferably like one that you plug into a television or one that you can, or possibly even a computer, not so much a phone on a tablet. That's like arguing that WWE Supercard is a sequel to 2K16. No.
No, just like no. Yeah, but like overall, when I remember playing the game and actually like really enjoying it, you know,
I really enjoyed it for an hour.
Well, here's the thing, because at this time, I was playing video games, but I was also like, you know, super busy at the same time, so I was kind of like absently playing video games. When I got into it properly is when I started achievement hunting. And when I actually was playing it to get achievements, I actually enjoyed it like a heck of a lot more in a strange way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I remember doing like the story mode, and I just found it like monotonous after a while.
It's very tedious.
Yeah.
It is very tedious.
But I mean, like it was like I don't want to be too harsh on it because I think it's very easy to be overly harsh on it. But it's just a case of like,
hold on, people on the internet being overly harsh about something.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. It's just I just don't have it in me to like hate the game. I think it's like, again, I think it was a good starting point, but we never got to see like, you know, the idea is fully fleshed out. We like having more of a moveset depth would have improved it a lot, but it just came off as like playing like an arcade game, like a really basic arcade game that looked like a wrestling game, rather than being like being either like a wrestling sim or being a fighting sim. It just never really got there.
Yeah, and actually, funny story you mentioned that, Bryn, because I'm actually working on a piece for Total Wrestling Magazine at the moment. The first piece is going out soon, and it is actually charting the entire history of wrestling video games.
Oh, cool.
And I started off, I kind of just condensed, you know, the NES Genesis era all the way up to the PS1 era.
Yeah.
And well, not the full PS1 era, but it stops after Attitude, you know. And the funny thing about it is, with those games, with that time span, you can see how long it took WWE to kind of figure out what they were and what worked. It went from being, you know, an absolute mess to being an arcade game with WrestleMania, and then they kind of slowed it down to being a more sim-based game. So I think that's what TNA were kind of going for, but they wanted up the ante, and that's why they went with the mocap stuff. But
yeah, I think they're trying. I remember seeing interviews at the time where they were really. The intent was to make something more like WWF No Mercy.
Yeah.
It like I totally get that intent. It just isn't fully realized.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the thing. You know, it's one of those great things lost to time, where you know, if only. But you know, I would say if you guys haven't played, if you're wrestling fans, it's not one that I'd say run out and buy, but you get it for like £4. So you know, give it a try. See what you think.
I mean, there's a game currently on Steam Early Access that every now and again I'll talk about because it's called Pro Wrestling X, and it's essentially like another TNA game, but it's in early access and it's currently getting development on, and it's like it's not even close to finished, and they're charging like I think about a tenner for it on Steam, but they're also going, it's not finished, so don't expect a finished game when you buy it.
Yeah, they're like, guys, just temper your expectations and everything will be okay.
The cool thing about it is that like if you do buy it, you also do get to track the progress of that game, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, if you're interested in game development, it's very interesting to look at like how long. I mean, that's like it's an independently financed video game. And seeing how long it takes them to produce work is really interesting.
For sure.
And yeah, I mean, that's something else to check out because like if you have a computer, then you have Steam, and you'll definitely be able to run it because it's not like super labor intensive at this point in time.
No, it's very very straightforward. You know, there's nothing. It's not going to, you know, kill your RAM or anything like that. It's grand, you know.
I'd say it's stable. I mean, like so far, like they've done a very good job so far of like making every update they have be very stable for customers. So that's good. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, it's something that's nice where like like I've had that game for about 2 years now, and every time I've played it, it's been stable after every update. That's impressive for a game that like isn't finished, where it's always a stable build that they have released. So, you know, it's a testament to how good they are at doing their own quality assurance while they make the game.
Man, we've played worse games.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
You know, like I played worse games, and you know,
I played worse games by better financed people.
Yeah, like I'm very anxious about the new WWE game, but we will talk about that in due time, you know.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to jump on something else here. There's an awful lot breaking with the, what are they going to call it now? The DC universe, the DC EU as such. There's an awful lot of stuff happening there, and that's just becoming a train wreck. So in the past day or two, we've had 2 major departures from the DCEU.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Do you want to guess who they were?
I have no idea.
Okay, who are the 2 biggest people in the DCEU?
So that'd be in terms of like actors.
Well, actors, but also characters. Like who?
Also, that'd be Wonder Woman and Batman.
Go again.
Wonder Woman and Superman.
Batman and Superman.
Okay.
Both gone.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are. You know, it's crazy. Like,
that's weird.
Yeah. So
they just should have. They you know what? They just should have cast. What's that guy's name again? He was at Dublin Comic-Con. He played Superman before.
Dean Cain.
Yeah, they should just cast Dean Cain as Superman again. They just should have. It should have happened.
Yeah, like Dean Cain is a good guy. You know. I didn't see any major thing. Any you know, he seemed like a pretty sound bloke. But it kind of sucks that this is the thing that's happening now. You know, it's like they've messed up so badly that it's over for the DCU. You know, like that's it, man. It's, you know.
Well, yeah, I think, I mean, to be fair to them, like the Superman movies, the Superman movie and the Batman versus Superman movie didn't perform. They performed well, but they didn't perform as well as they expected them to. The Wonder Woman movie was far more successful and had far more acclaim over it. I think they're probably just trying to distance themselves for it so they can kind of readjust and kind of reformat the next kind of sequence of films that they do, especially because it seems like they're going in a much more standalone kind of route, which is honestly, it's a better move for them at this point.
Right.
To just do than to like try and do the try and keep up with the continuity that they had created with Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice, in my opinion.
Like, where do you think the wheels fell off? Do you think it was as simple as...
Well, I think they've been trying to put the wheels back on for 3 films, to be honest with you. Like, you know, I mean, when
trying to put the wheels back on.
When you consider, like, okay, in my opinion, they had 3 films in a row that were, you know, all from like, maybe not from a box office perspective, but certainly from like what a film is and what a film is supposed to do perspective, fail massively. Like, I didn't watch Man of Steel and go, I want to know more about Superman. You know, I didn't watch the Batman vs Superman movie going, I want to know more about this Batman character that they have.
I did. Look, I'll say this. I really like Dawn of Justice. I thought it was not bad.
Okay, on a scale on a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's like a 5. But I mean, at the same time, like, that's like, when you're competing with Marvel, which like average, I would say around 6s and 7s, it's just not cutting it, you know, like it really isn't. And
okay, so you're catching us on the podcast and you want to find out, well, what if I want to listen live and I'm not in Ireland? Well, the TuneIn app has you covered. That's TuneIn. Just look for Phoenix 92.5 FM and you'll be able to check us out live. Don't forget, if you want to contribute to the conversation, go over to Twitter. Nerd2know 92.5 is our Twitter. That's Nerd2, the number 2. No 92.5 is our Twitter for the show. If you want to chime in, you can. Every Saturday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. here on Phoenix 92.5 FM.
Suicide Squad, which was a mess.
Yes.
Like it's a very watchable film, but so are the Transformers movies. Like
it's one of those like the Suicide Squad for me was a movie that I really liked until I thought about it, and then I got more and more upset every time I started thinking about it. I'm like,
but it was the same problem with Man of Steel in that perspective.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you know, I liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he was good.
I really enjoyed when he played Superman in Justice League.
Yes.
You know, it's the only time he played.
The only time, exactly, and that's the thing. But like, and here's one thing that like I'm sure our listeners know because you know they're in the Nerd to Know. I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. But yeah,
sure you're gonna have that as a basis.
But the thing about it is when Superman is not like he is in the movies.
Yeah.
There's at the end of Justice League and at the beginning of Justice League, actually, that's Superman. You know, when he actually isn't a colossal douche. You know, he's actually like really funny and a good character.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like, if you've spent any time reading over like the good Superman material, like he's for a character that people say isn't interesting. Yeah, there's something kind of interesting about a guy who kind of goes, I have all the power in the world and I can do anything I want. I could let this corrupt me, but you know what? I won't, because it's more challenging to do the right thing. And you kind of go like, yeah, that is actually interesting. Like, you know,
it's like, dude, you're okay in Airbook, you know?
Yeah, like, and he's not brooding about it. He's not like, he doesn't have like the pressure of the world is on him, but you wouldn't know it from looking at the dude. You know, it's kind of amazing. Like you're kind of like you come away just going, man, Clark is a cool guy. Like,
yeah, and
that's supposed to be how you feel about him.
He's Clark. He's not Superman. You know, that's the big thing. That's why Batman always calls him Clark.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, it's two reasons. One, because Batman's a dick, but he also he just won't refer to him as anything else. But also, it's to humanize him, and it reminds you that he is just a man. Like, well, he's Superman.
He's just a guy from Kansas.
He's just a guy from Kansas, who happens to have these incredible powers. But the main thing about Superman character was he was raised by
humans.
Yeah, and he
considers himself as like he considers himself to be an American citizen.
Yes,
like,
and he is.
You know,
he is. You know, and that's the thing. That's the whole point of the story. You know, it was a whole immigrant story. You know, that's the great thing about Superman. It can be all these kind of different things. But also in Elseworld, you know, there's a story where he's raised by the Waynes.
Yeah.
No, Speed of Bullet, and he basically becomes Batman. But you know, crazy Batman, and also
crazy powerful Batman.
Exactly, where he just punches people to dust. But there's one, you know, there's the Red. There was Red Son as well, where he's communist Russia, and you know, I think this is lost. You know, I know you're a huge Superman fan, Bryn, so it's you know, when I saw this, I'm like, I don't know how you're going to feel about this.
I think if they left it for a while and they just kind of, I think if they spend a little bit more time, if they get like a couple of Shazam movies out, if they do like a Cyborg movie and that kind of thing, and they just do their own thing for a bit and get like a few more heroes, a bit more publicity. Because like everyone knows Superman, they know Batman, but I think Warner Brothers and DC have an opportunity here to kind of open the doors to a few of the more prominent characters within the lore of DC characters, but like lesser known characters. Like they could do stuff with Martian Manhunter and like God, who else is there that they could do? But like you know what I mean. They could do like Hawkman would be cool, you know,
for sure.
Like, and like, I mean, I'd love to see a Static Shock film or Black Light. Like they've got Black Lighting in the TV show, but like even if they did Static, you know, I mean, there's plenty of guys to choose from that they could do. That they could do some, like that they could do some just like fun superhero films with, and they don't like. I'm not looking for them to do like to replicate what Marvel have, because you know what, they're like DC and Marvel are like very different in terms of like the philosophy and the attitude that they have. Like when it comes to Marvel, I kind of like seeing characters behave like kind of like make bad decisions and like be more flawed. When I see DC characters, I want to see them like actually make like the right decision and stuff. Like it's kind of hard to explain in brief period, but like the idea is like one is like idealism and the other one's realism. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
As far as like characters go, I mean, like you're not gonna, you know, you have to suspend disbelief with what they can do, but it's more like how they react to stuff. It should be more like DC should be much more like it should be much more idealistic in how they respond.
Exactly, because you know the DC stories are not like Marvel. Marvel's very based, and that's one thing actually from playing the new Spider-Man game. I kind of forgot how real it is. You know, DC is not supposed to be real. DC is their overarching teams. Like literally, Superman is a god. Yeah. Shazam is many gods.
Yeah.
Like Diana is also a god. Batman is someone who punches gods. You know, it's
like Batman is like someone who, like, despite the fact that he's only human, is able to get a 10 to 15 year long career, possibly longer, but doing something that that pretty much every expert, when they compare all of his abilities, have said like that's a 3-year career before his body's ruined. Like
yeah. But the thing, like again, like Batman sleeps like 3 hours a night. Yeah,
that's super not good for you.
I don't know, man. Works out for me.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that. You know, he has 52 master degrees. He's mastered every single form of combat. He's he's
knowledgeable about magic.
Yeah, look, you couldn't be Batman. Like that's the thing. It's not possible, you know. But that's
the superpower is that he has as much time of the day as Batman needs.
Yeah, like the thing about Batman's powers are he has determination, he has money, and he has time, and that's it. And he can do everything because with those like, 3 things you can pretty much do whatever you want. The crazy
thing is like he's that obsessed with being a superhero, but he still runs like Wayne Enterprises really well, like. Impressively well for someone new.
He's very good at it. Yeah, and here's the thing: I don't know what Wayne Enterprises actually does.
They're huge code. They do everything.
Yeah, I know they could. Yeah, but you know, like Tony Stark Industries, they make weapons. Like that makes sense. And LexCorp, you know, they run factories.
Well,
Wayne Corp just does everything. It's like okay, you know.
Yeah.
So just, you know, that's something that I don't know what's going to happen. There's talk of Michael B. Jordan being the new Superman, and I'm like, okay, I like Michael B. Jordan, but I'm like, really? That's kind of.
I mean, not like I don't want to be that person, but I would rather see Michael B. Jordan play. I'd rather see him play Martian Manhunter. I think he played that role.
Oh man, that'd be a good, and that's a character that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
At all, really.
To be honest, like that, I think that would be like, I don't know why, but I really feel like I would rather have like a black actor play Martian Manhunter.
Well, he should. You know, that's kind of.
But
works, you know.
I think that like someone like Idris Elba would do a really good job with that role.
Yeah. Well,
Idris Elba would be cool to steal too, and could actually make that role work.
But it's the bit. Actually, Idris Elba would be awesome for Martian Manhunter because he has the build.
Yeah.
You know, when he played Heimdall, it was.
That's true.
You know, they're very, very similar. Michael B. Jordan would be good. Actually, Michael B. Jordan would be good for Static Shock.
Yeah, he's a bit too old for the role now.
He is, but they could, you know,
You could play a 10-year vet version.
Exactly, and that's and speaking of that's what the reason I bring it up is because one of the new things that I really like about the Spider-Man game is he's an 8-year vet.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that works so well. I think you can tell a really good story, and then once that works, you can do your origin story and hire a younger kid to play him as a 16-year-old. But I think the major
also, it'd be cool to get Miles.
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what they're whetting the appetite with the new Spider-Man game. No spoilers. No spoilers.
The movie coming out later this year.
Yeah, no spoilers, but they are kind of getting people to know who Miles Morales is. So I think there's a lot of depth and breadth there. But man, Michael B. Jordan, he can do way better than a cast-off Superman.
Yeah, I like just as well as that. I mean, like, not being funny, but like Superman's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to play the character. Like that's the thing. It's a very specific casting. Like
it's dude. It's like the way you like the joke is made. You can't make a good Jesus movie because and you can't. It's kind of hard to do. Other than focus on his death. And that ironically, that's what they did with Superman. They focused on his death, and then the movie afterwards, sort of like bringing him back. It's kind of like you kind of ride the Jesus allegory to the ground, and that's all that Hollywood know how to do with Superman. And it's like, no, you can do a lot more with it, but they won't. And this is why I think before we have another Superman character based movie, I think Justice League Dark would be cool to do. Swamp Thing would be cool to do. Finally pull the trigger with Constantine. DC just need to know what they're doing.
The last Constantine film was not very good.
I liked it, but it was not a Constantine film. It was Keanu Reeves doing stuff. But the TV show was very good.
Yeah. That movie, I was just remember going like, this film is building to a massive climax that turned out to be a conversation.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
I watched it in the theater and I was not prepared for. I was prepared for a massive climactic fight. What I got was a conversation, and I left going like, that was really good right up until the end.
Yeah. That was the kind of thing though when Keanu Reeves, everything was kind of like The Matrix, and it wasn't.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of which, we wanted to kind of switch gears here and talk about the Predator. So Predator, I know that's horribly confusing. The Predator 2018, folks, is it's out this week or next week.
Soon anyway.
It's out soon. Yeah, on the stream now we have Geek Ireland for people watching. You can see that's on the main page there, and they have a review above it. I'm excited for it.
It's coming out, I think it's coming out this weekend.
I'm excited for it cautiously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be good. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like, I mean, the only Predator films I haven't liked have been the ones with Alien in them.
I like them, kind of.
Yeah, I just like, if I'm outside of this one, there's 5 films. So it's like the Predator 1, Predator 2, the 2 Alien AVP films, and Predators.
Yeah. Predators was really good.
Yeah, really, really good. It was so good you didn't even mind Topher Grace being there. Like,
oh, he was. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Like Predators was really good. Obviously, Predator is
Yeah, Predator. I mean, Predator 2 was like enjoyable, but just not like, it's kind of like the Die Hard 2.
Like
it's good, but
it's good, but not great. Actually, I will have to say, did you ever play the video game for the PS2? Predator Concrete Jungle.
Nope, never.
That's really fun. That's really fun. Yeah, it's pretty much Predator 2, and that's it. You are the Predator. It's although it's from that era where like Blood Omen 2 and it feels very like Blood Omen 2, but that's not a bad thing.
No, that game's awesome.
Oh yeah, man, it's so good. Like, particularly we haven't played it in a while. I think we'll have to have a little look back at that.
Legacy of Kain series is so great.
So underrated. Underrated.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the interesting thing as well was that I just read an article earlier today about the Predator, that apparently Schwarzenegger was offered a role for it, and he rejected it to do Terminator 6 instead. Which, like, yay! I mean. It's like, okay, Arnie. I'm pretty sure people would rather see you do Predator again, than do another Terminator film.
Well, see, okay, and we're kind of this is the worst thing about the show. We run into the same thing with the desk where we get into it and then it's time to go. But we might go over because we're streaming. But here's the thing about the Terminator thing, right? I like the fact that it is a Terminator sequel right from Terminator 2. It's done by James Cameron, so it will be a true sequel. Like, I remember going to see Terminator 3 in the theaters. I'm going to see Terminator 4. I've seen all the Terminator movies in the theater I could see because I was like 3 when Terminator 2 came out. And even if I saw it, I wouldn't have remembered it. So I've seen all of them in the theaters, and I remember thinking, oh, God, this is really disappointing. And the same with all the other ones. I would rather see Arnie in Terminator, whatever this new Terminator movie is, than in Predator, because I don't think there's any reason for him to be in Predator. Like, what's he going to do? Hey, I survived the Predator. Bye, guys.
Give that exposition dump.
Yeah. It's like,
I told him to do it, and then he did it, and then we got to I said we get to the chopper. We got to the chopper, and that's all I need from him. And maybe to do like a standing arm wrestle contest.
And then quickly break the fourth wall and go, and that guy was there, and the camera pans off, and it's, it's just like,
suddenly turns into The Office randomly.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Shane Black, the director of Predators, was in Predator 1. So yeah, I have heard though that this movie is one of the sleeper comedies of the year because it's very Marvel-y.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really like Shane Black in general, and he's great. I really like Iron Man 3. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is great. Anything he's done actually is definitely worth a watch. But a Marvel-based Predator movie, I'll wait and see. I think we'll reserve our judgment on this because it's a bit too close to the call here. Yeah, man, like so much has happened this week, and we're almost out of time. Bryn, is there anything you want to cover before we wrap up?
So yeah, real quick. Apparently, Bethesda have been in talks with Nintendo to talk about doing future projects with to do future projects together. So like they'll be having stuff as like small as having like playable characters in future Smash Brothers games, having exclusives for Nintendo and that sort of thing. Because like we've been seeing a lot of like highly celebrated stuff for Doom on the Switch and Skyrim and so on. So in my opinion, it'd be super cool. Super cool to see a collaboration between the two of them.
I'd love to see that, and I think it's long overdue. Like the Nintendo, obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, Nintendo, going all the way back to the video game crisis of the 80s, are very, very strict on what they allow on their platforms. A lot of games have been censored, all this kind of stuff. But that said, the fact that Doom is on the Switch, like hyper-violent Doom. Well, I know all Dooms are hyper-violent, but modern Doom, it's a good sign, and I think it's great. It's great to see. So fair play, absolutely fair play to Nintendo for that. So I'm excited. I haven't got a Switch, but
I'll be getting one soon, hopefully.
Here's the thing: I'm just enjoying the PS4. For the first time in a long time. I'm actually sitting there going, wow, Guilty Gear is the fighting game of choice for me. That's on there. The Jurassic Park game is unreal. And obviously Spider-Man for PS4 as well. So I'm finally enjoying next generation consoles because there's games there I actually want to play. Look, more games we all do well out of. That's the thing. And, right on for that. All right, guys, and that's going to do it for this edition of Nerd to Know Basis here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Of course, on our SoundCloud, on Mixcloud, on all the clouds, and also on iTunes. If you check out Nerd to Know Media, that's where all the shows are going to be hosted on iTunes. So subscribe there. They'll drop a day or two after they go up on after they go out live on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Real quick, Bryn, what would you like to plug this week, sir?
So I am going to plug my our usual friends over at Geeks of the Industry. So geeks who are Geeks of the Industry? I hear you random person ask towards your headphones in the middle of the street. Yes, I hear you.
Oh my God, they hear you. Run.
So basically what they are is like a podcasting network. They do a wide range of different shows. So they have, like, if you're into the kind of stuff that we talk about here, they have their flagship show, that's Geeks in the Industry. They also have a couple of shows on film, film. There's Geeks on Film, Creature Features Podcast, which is like hard podcast. Then there's also Shit Film Sundays too, Shit Harder, which is me with my wonderful co-host Floney's Punk KSC.
That is my favorite name for a podcast ever.
Yeah,
I love it.
In terms of like wrestling podcasts, if you're like us and you have the affliction of enjoying wrestling, they have a couple of wrestling podcasts there as well. That's like Mega Powers Radio and WrestleBolics Radio. Yeah,
these names, guys. These names.
Pretty much anything that Felonious Punk does will have swears in it. It's unbelievable. So yeah, if you have the time, check them out because they do amazing podcasts.
Yes, and do check them out, guys. Yeah, their workload is quite substantial. So fair play. I will plug my Twitter at DaraWV, at DARRAGHWV, and because I've really got super into it, I'm going to plug my Twitch stream because I'm streaming a lot of things on Twitch. So www.twitch.tv/DuxImperator. So DuxImpereator. So you can go there and you can.
Easy on yourself.
Yeah. I got to change that, I think. You can go there and you can watch me stream all the Spider-Man all the time.
Same Spider channel. Same Spider time.
It's pretty much whenever I get a chance, I'm like, Spider-Man. I will diversify once I, finish the Spider-Man. But until that point, we're going to have to keep going. But guys,
after this, it's Spider-Man 2 for the PS2. After this, it's Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro for PS1.
I might just do that, But guys, until next week, I've been Darragh O'Connor. He's been Brendan O'Rourke. We'll talk to you then here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, Nerd to Know Basis.
Bye.
Do you like wrestling? Then what are you waiting for? Check out the rest of you International Desk this Tuesday and every Tuesday on Phoenix 92.5 FM, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. with myself, Darragh O'Connor, and my co-host, Bryn O'Rourke, bringing you over 300 editions of the show and counting. The rest of you International Desk, Phoenix 92.5 FM.